Hi everyone. So for my final presentation, I decided to write about William Shakespeare and his impact on English grammar and the English language. So I'm gonna talk a little bit about who Shakespeare was and talk about the things that he did that impacted the English language. So yeah. Who was Shakespeare? So he was born on or around April 23rd, 1564. We don't know the exact date he was born, but we do know that he was baptized on April 26th of 1564, and that usually happens a few days after a child was born. So we just say his birthday was April 23rd. And he was born in Stratford-upon-Avon, which is in Warwickshire, England. It's a very cute, very small village, very fairy tale-esque. He probably began his education at the age of 6 or 7 at the Stratford Grammar School or King's New School. Documentation was really bad back then, so we don't know really how or if he was educated. Like, there's no documentation for it. But given his father's status and like who his father was, where he lived, it's most likely that he attended King's New School. And at King's, he would have studied Latin, Greek, theology, and rhetoric. So Shakespeare was the eldest son of John Shakespeare, who was a prosperous clover and local dignitary, and Mary Arden, who was the daughter of a wealthy farmer. John and Mary actually had two children. They were both girls before Shakespeare, but they both died when they were infants, and so that made Shakespeare the eldest. And I believe they had 5 children after Shakespeare. 3 were girls and 2 were boys. At 18, he married Anne Hathaway, and she was 26 at the time, and he was 18, and she was pregnant, and so they ended up getting married very quickly. That wasn't uncommon back then, and together they had 3 children. His career jump-started in London. For more than 2 decades, he had multiple roles in the London theatre as an actor, playwright, and he would eventually go on to become a business partner in a major acting company known as the Lord Chamberlain's Men. We don't really know a whole lot about his life and like how he got to London. Those years are actually referred to as the lost years because there's no documentation on him and what he was up to, so we don't know why he actually went to London, but he did. So here's just some things to keep in mind, some food for thought. So prior to Shakespeare's time, written English was not standardized. His works contributed greatly to the standardization of English grammar, spelling, and vocabulary. So that basically, by like standardized, it means like what's accepted as correct, like the basic rules for grammar that we all know and follow. And before Shakespeare, like take like Chaucer, for instance, who would very often change the way he spelt things, change the way he said things. Like there wasn't a real rules that he would follow, but with Shakespeare's works, those rules were put into place and people began to follow them after that. Shakespeare introduced 1,700 original words in the English language, many of which we still use to this day. Many well-known phrases that we use daily originated in his works. And he also perfected blank verse, which is just verse without rhyme, and it's written in iambic pentameter, which would become the standard in poetry. And he also influenced some of the greatest writers of all time. So here are just some examples of some words that he invented. I tried to only use a play once to just kind of spread out the words a little bit and show you like that he invented words in all of his plays. So accommodation is from Measure for Measure. The word addiction is from Othello. The word admirable is from Hamlet. The word agile is from Romeo and Juliet. The word bedroom is from Midsummer Night's Dream. The word dawn is from Henry V. The word dwindle is from Henry IV. The word epileptic is from King Lear. The word hereditary is from Antony and Cleopatra. The word laughable is from The Merchant of Venice. The word mutiny is from Julius Caesar. And the word negotiate is from Much Ado About Nothing. So here are some phrases that Shakespeare invented. Again, I tried to only use a play once. So the first one is all that glitters is not gold. That's from The Merchant of Venice. All's well that ends well is from the play the same name, All's well that ends well. Break the ice is from The Taming of the Shrew. Into thin air is from The Tempest. Knock knock, who's there is from Macbeth. And Own flesh and blood is from Hamlet. So how exactly did Shakespeare standardize the English language? So his writings are a huge part of one of the factors that led to the standardization of English language, because as soon as they became popular, his words and phrases were put into immediate action, and the grammar rules of English slowly started to come together. So as his works and his writings and his plays became more and more popular, people started to look to him for rules as far as writing and grammar. His writings depict the rules that are currently still being followed in the English language. For instance, he reinitiated the use of suffixes in grammar, which we still use. And despite having been dead for a really long time, his grammar rules still remain the same in the days of modern English. Yeah, so just to wrap things up, restate some things that I've already said. So he was a renowned English poet. Shakespeare was a renowned English poet, playwright, and actor during the Elizabethan and Jacobean ages of British theatre. His legacy is as rich and diverse as his works, spawning countless adaptations across multiple genres and cultures. Though he lived more than 400 years ago, the influence he had over the English language still exists today and will keep on existing for many years to come. And here are my works cited. These are the sources that I use to get my information from for this presentation. And yeah, thank you guys for watching. Hope you enjoyed.